Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. Got another nifty new item to unbox. This is the Tascam DR-05. Now, a little bit of background information. I have a Zoom H4. That's what I'm recording from this mic into right now. I also have a Zoom H1, which is, I guess, about as comparable as this gets from Tascam to Zoom. The problem why I got this in to check this out, the problem is I'm having problem with my Zoom H1 in the sense that the internal time clock drifts. And apparently that's not uncommon in the lower priced devices. Now, I didn't think it would happen with the Zoom, but I've tried every setting I can think of, all sorts of the different encoding settings, everything, and it doesn't seem to make a difference. What happens is, over time, the audio drifts out of sync. It doesn't happen with my H4, so it's definitely something to do with my H1, and from what I've been able to read and what I've narrowed it down to, it's just something to do with the time clock not being as accurate. So over time, when I sync the audio to the video in Premiere Pro, as it rolls on, it drifts out of sync and I have to cut and splice and resync it, which is a real pain in the butt, and it just takes time and it's a pain. So I'm hoping the DR-05 doesn't do that, because I could replace my Zoom H1 with this guy. Let's open it up. I got this on loan from B&H to check it out and do a review. And let's see here what we have. It's nicely packaged, taking me a second to get out. Some type of cord here. Looks like a USB to micro USB. There's the recorder in a nice styrofoam encasement there. Some directions in the package. And this is the important thing that I'm looking for, is the recorder itself. And they even gave you a pair of batteries. And so these are GP alkalines. I've used these GB batteries. They're, I don't know, they're offshore, but they work quite well. I've bought them as replacements for other things like flash triggers, and they actually work pretty good. Okay, so the Tascam unit. Nice looking little unit. A little larger than my Zoom H1. Hang on one sec, let me grab the H1. So here's the H1, okay? And there's the Zoom, or the Tascam DR-05. It's actually a little taller and probably, you know, almost double the width there. So, and actually a little thicker too. So all in all, it's not as compact, but it's still compact enough that I don't mind the size of this. Not as big and as thick as my Zoom H4. So that's not too bad. It looks like it takes 2 batteries. Let's open it up here. Yeah, so 2 batteries, 2 AAs in the compartment. The difference between the H1 is that takes 1 AA. So, and this actually runs for a long time off 1 AA. Again, none of that matters to me if this corrects the drift problem. If the internal time clock on here does not cause me issues with audio drift, I'll switch to this in a heartbeat. So the batteries go in here. I'm not going to bother opening the batteries right this second, because I'll have to put them in and I'll have to set the date and time and whatnot. It feels actually, between the two, I would say fit and finish, build quality, tactile feel, I would give the nod to the Tascam DR-05. It seems like it seems to be like a little bit better quality built unit than the Zoom H1. And I like the 4-way touchpad on the front here. Actually 5-way, I guess. Well, I guess it depends how you count it, because there's 4 buttons and then buttons in between and then the center. So it's actually a 9-button touchpad, which is pretty cool. And then you've got an on-off here and your record. You get your twin mics up here. You've got your external in for your mic on the top. The Zoom actually has that on the side. I don't know if I'm gonna like one way or the other or not. On the side here, we have our micro SD card slot right there. We also have the USB port there. There's a speaker on the back, so obviously you can play back with this. We've got a line out or headphone jack right there. And then the hold switch, and I use that all the time on all my Zooms as well. What that is once you start recording, you can hit hold so you accidentally don't turn it off. Quite handy. So overall, fit and finish, I'm actually liking this better than my Zoom H1. So I'll be really interested to see how it performs, what the quality of the audio is. And again, the big thing for me, I'm assuming the quality of the audio is probably going to be comparable to the Zoom. If I doubt it's going to be better. The Zoom is very good. I imagine the Tascam is very good, but we will check that out. The big thing is, does this Tascam, the DR-05, does it have any audio drift? How's the internal clock? Anyways, if you guys have used this device, the DR-05 Tascam, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Let me know your feedback. How do you like it? Have you used another Tascam? Do you have an H1 and don't have problems with audio drift? Now, be clear what I'm talking about there. You've synced it to your video and your camera, and it doesn't drift. I'd be curious to know if you do have one and you've never had that problem, because this one certainly has that problem. And as far as I know, there's no way to, as far as I know, it has the most updated firmware, and I've tried all the different settings for the encoding rates and whatnot, and it just doesn't seem to make any difference. It seems to be an internal clock issue. So hopefully this one doesn't have that, and if that's the case, I will buy this one. And leave your comments below if you have any questions about the DR-05, if you have feedback on it, or if you have another one of these devices, or if you have the H1 and haven't had that problem. Let's discuss it a bit. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.